Wendy's bike doesn't have a centre stand, so if I need to oil a chain, I use the hydraulic jack when I'm in the garage. But this, of course, isn't available when we're out touring and camping. I've seen various types of portable jack stands on the internet, so I thought, how hard can it be to make one myself? So here we go. A piece of channel, a piece of RHS, a rubber foot, some threaded rod, and a bolt to hold the two bits together. So it seems to me that step one is to drill a hole through both the channel and the RHS for the bolt that holds them together. These little self-driving centre punches are really handy. They usually provide enough of a mark to get the drill bit going. I want a hole that's just a loose clearance, so I measure the bolt and then guess the drill. That one's exact, so I'll just go up one. This will give me a nice clearance hole for the bolt. So now for a bit of sped up drilling action. This isn't thick steel, so I don't bother with a pilot drill. The smoke you see is coming from the cutting oil that I've put on the bits. Using cutting oil really does help when you're drilling steel. Cuts better and increases the life of the drill between sharpens. Now to give it a test fit. Right, of course. I'll need to cut some edges off. I need this piece of RHS to be able to move freely, both opening and closing back into the channel. Okay, that's better. But it needs to bend backwards so that the whole thing locks in position. So I need to cut and then hammer the tab so that the RHS can bend backwards. Okay, that looks good. Now to weld it. So it's nice and strong. There we go. It's bending backwards, it's welded up, nice and strong, and it will lock in position with the weight of the bike. Now it's time to measure some angles for the foot and the top. So this is going to be the foot. It's going to hang out a bit and you'll see why in a minute. I'm going to use the threaded rod as an adjustment so that I can get it just right. I won't always be using this on completely flat concrete, so the length of the jack will probably vary. So the threaded rod will give me some adjustment in height. And rather than welding a nut on, I'm going to tap a thread through the 5mm steel that I've welded onto the foot. This is where I realise I should have drilled this hole before welding it on. Silly me. Oh well, not to worry. Bit of drilling with a battery drill and Bob's your uncle. I find it very satisfying to be able to tap a thread into steel. This tap set I bought from Aldi quite a number of years ago, and it's done well. It's a metric thread and the threaded rod is 12mm. Final test, just to be sure that the rod will go into the thread. Yep, nice and smooth. And finally the top bit that will fit underneath the swing arm and stop the jack from sliding around. I may have mentioned this in previous videos, but sticking steel together with a welder is such a satisfying experience. I don't think these next two steps are strictly required, but in this safety conscious world, I'm adding it to the video just to be sure. A bungee to stop the side stand moving and the front brake on to stop the wheel moving. Right, let's give it a test. With my left hand steadying the bike, I gently apply pressure with my right hand and it locks in position, and it's really quite stable. So now I've got no excuse for not oiling the chain on Wendy's bike when we're out touring. Now that it's been painted, it looks like I bought one. So why not wrap it in a dirty rag? And then secure it with the Velcro used to hold the front brake on. Under the seat next to the toolbox, there's a handy little gap that this fits in just nicely, so it can live there under the seat, waiting to be used. These are probably not expensive to buy, but it was a fun little project to make.